to market. So there's always a couple of recommendations for when you decide to go to market. One is pick your time of day. I'm very lucky to live in the UK, so if I go on a weekday as early as possible, the minimum amount of US time zone pilots are online. So later on in the evening on a Sunday night is probably the worst time to go, and I've just checked and there's about 35,000 pilots online, so it's quite a high amount. My first thought was I was going to take the Sigil, which is my hauler ship, which has got a capacity of just over 2,000 in the hold. But then I checked and I've only got enough free slots to sell another 10 items, so I just picked the most valuable items that I had lying around, and I was able to fit it into the magnate, so that should be quite good. There's a really useful site which I'll show you in a second. So if you know which is your origin system, so Baromab here, and we're heading to Amar, and you can check and see if anybody's been ganked at any of the gates. So we're just going to flip over to that one and just have a look for a second. So I will put this link in the comments underneath, but this is a fantastically useful site. So you put in your origin station, Baromab, you put in Amar as your target station, and if you're going to stop along the way, if you're going to add any extra waypoints, you can add them on here. If there's a system that you know is full of ganky boys, you can put that in here. And you also have a couple of options. Now, we're only traveling 4 jumps, so it's really straightforward. You just refresh, because obviously this information updates fairly regularly. I think it's every half an hour. So in the last hour, there's been no kills in the first 3 systems and 1 in Amar. And none of those kills have been at the gates. So getting to Amar should be relatively stress-free, which is quite nice. You have got the option, I think, of... Oh, there you go. You can look on the, as our American bros would say, Z kill. I always think of it as Z kill, but there you are. You can click on this and you can get some details about this kill, and it will tell you where in the system they were. We will look at that at some point, but not tonight. So we're just going to flip back into the game. Excuse me. Okay. So we have a nice little haul, an estimated price of just over 6.5 million ISK. A couple of these items I think will probably sell for a little bit more once we get into market. It's also useful to think about why you would want to travel to market to sell this stuff. You can just list an item for sale in your current station, not this player-owned one, but if it was an NPC station, you usually can. The disadvantage of that is that usually it takes much longer to sell your items. By going to one of the trade hubs, and Amar is the second biggest trade hub in the game, you're more likely to sell your item quicker and for a better price. That's the logic of it, and we'll talk about that a little once we get there. So we have a full hold of goods. We've checked that our route is okay, and I think we're ready to go. So let's go for it. We will talk when we're in the Amar system itself. We will talk a little about bookmarks, which, oh, excuse me, just tidying this up a little. Okay. We'll talk a little bit about bookmarks, which when you go into a system and you walk towards a station, you arrive at the docking ring. Now, you don't land directly on the station, you land a certain distance away, and it takes you a few seconds to go from where you land to actually docking into the station. And that's where the gankers will scan you and target you and shoot you all in a fraction of a second, which is all good fun. One of the best things you can be is you can look like you're not worth their effort. Now, a ship that's worth, let's have a quick look, see, the estimated cost of our fit is probably 8 million. Okay, yeah. So the estimated value of our fit is about 8 million, and we've got about 6 million worth of goods in our hold. I think we're basically not worth the effort, really. If somebody was to gank us, they've got a few seconds to kill us before the in-game police, before Concord blow them up. So the value of your ship and goods has to be worth more than the cost of replacing their ship and rebuilding their loss in standing. So it's if you want to avoid attention, or you know you're only going to market to buy something relatively cheap, look as cheap and inoffensive as possible. I think that's probably the best way to think of it. So I'm going to get up the bookmarks menu, which you get up by pressing L. And here you've got a list of all of the locations in a particular system. The two you'll notice when we get into Amar, the station warp in and the station warp out will become highlighted and will appear in this section here. So let's give it a go. Nobody's flashing red in local as well, which is always quite a positive thing. Yes, if everybody could ignore this very cheap looking ship, that will be fantastic. Might get a few more probes while we're here. I think I could do. Oh, I forgot to say the big news. Our estimated value has topped 140 million. So I think that makes us a sixth of the way there. Does that sound right? Maybe no, just over a seventh of the way there, I think. My mental arithmetic is more mental than arithmetic, but okay. Oh, and I'm also trying out a different mic to the last episode's mic. Now, I really liked last episode's mic. So if this one or the previous episode sound better, please let me know. Okay, so here we are in Amar. There are 431 people in system. I'm just going to scroll down. We've got about a minute before we uncloak from the station, from the gate warp. Oh gosh, okay, nobody's flashing red. Interesting. Take that. Nobody's highlighted as a criminal. There's a couple of people nearby. The Sunesis and the Gnosis. The Gnosis ship, if you see one of those near a gate, you're probably going to be scanned because somebody's boosting the gankers. But yeah, they've all gone. Or after the conversation about whether to bring the sigil in or not, somebody's bringing one in. That's kind of cool. So what we're going to do is, rather than clicking on the station and clicking the dock option, I'm going to click to the station warp in and warp within 0 meters. And that should put us within docking range of the station itself. So I'll show you how you make these bookmarks in a bit when we warp out of the station. Good. Look and see if we can spot any. Oh, there's a couple of people as suspects. So we can dock, and we should dock up pretty much instantly. There we go. That was good. While you're docking, I think you're invulnerable as well, so I don't think any gankers can target you. But did you notice that between landing on the station and docking was a fraction of a second, maybe a couple of server ticks? So that's really, really good. Okay, let's just open this up and look. See, these skins are all items that were obtained by the Project Discovery minigame. Okay, let's have a look. So there's two ways to sell things. You can either sell something instantly, which usually gets you a slightly lower price, or you can list something on the market for a set period, and I usually go for either 2 or 4 weeks depending on how much that item is likely to sell. It's a little bit like a business lesson now, because turnover is important, as is profit. So if you list something to sell over a couple of weeks, that's your profit. But if you list something to sell instantly, then that's your turnover. So they are both really important. You could have billions for sale, but you could have 0 liquid ISK. So it's useful to have a bit of both, really. Okay, so I'm going to right click. I'm going to choose sort by estimated price. So that should put the most valuable things here and the least valuable things here. So let's have a look and see what the Sancha copper tag is going for. Okay, so in the station, the lowest price is 1.2 million and some change. Now somebody is happy to buy it for 193. Oh no, yeah, that's terrible. So if I click on here, I've got the highest available price in the station is 193,000. Let us see how many of these have been selling. So, okay, so quite a few are selling. We'll talk about what these are used for in game, but you trade them in with some of the NPC stations and you get a little bump in standings, basically. Okay, so let's try selling this now. So if we sell this item, and so if I were to sell it instantly after paying the broker's fees and the sales tax, I would get 347,000 ISK, which is not great. If we were to list it for a month, excuse me, close the wrong window. View market detail. If I were to, so say if I undercut this individual here and sell it for 1.2, so I have 2 of them at 1.2 million. Ooh, 12 million, that would be quite interesting. So I'm slightly above the market rate. I suspect some of these people are doing a bit of market manipulation, which is kind of fun. It's going to cost me a chunk of ISK, but potentially I could make just over 2 million on this. I think that's what we'll do. You'll notice that my fees have been paid, or partially paid there. Let's have a look and see this. Let's do the same thing with the salvage tackle. So let's view the market details. So the lowest price in station is 500,000. Somebody will buy it instantly for 61,000, so that's not great. Let's look at the price history. So they've steadily been selling. Yeah, that. So I think what we'll do is we'll match this price here, because actually we're going to go slightly over, because that jumps up from 500,000 to 580,000. So if we do 570. 570. So again, remember these small salvage tackles, we pretty much made this for nothing by just salvaging wrecks to get the raw material. So I'm happy to sell this. I'm going to take a little bit of hit there. You should see that we are the second lowest in the station, second lowest price in the station. That's quite nice. Let's do this again. The medium shield is something that we made ourselves from recycled rocks. So the cheapest one in station is 31,000. Quite a few at that price as well. So 36,000. Okay, not going to make a lot of ISK on this one. But interestingly, can you see here that there's somebody in the station buying them for 20,000? So let's see what we would get if we sold that one instantly. So if we go immediate. So if we sell it immediately, we get 30 333,000. If we list it for sale at 31, so we make an extra 200,000 or 170,000. I think we'll just sell it instantly. We'll just, going back to our conversation about turnover, this will cover a lot of the costs that we're incurring by selling these things. So view market details. Okay, the cheapest pricing station is just over 313,000. Two of them. So let's see what the instant price. See, now somebody is buying them at 31,000 here. So I think this might be one that we sell instantly. So if we were to list it at 1 month and yeah, they've got 15 at that price. So if we were to sell it at the cheapest price in a month, we would sell it and make a profit of 562. But if we change that to instant, or immediate rather, 579. So we actually make more by just selling it to this buyer here. Right, no. That seems like somebody's really keen to buy those. So again, we've had a nice little cash injection. Drone damage amplifier. These are selling here. Yeah, so we're going to list this for... We'll undercut that seller. Oh. We are going to sell it for 57.5. Or clumsy typing. 57.5. We're going to make just over 500,000. And again, this is something that we have made from mining. So this is stuff that we've made from minerals obtained by mining, rather. Any orders to... We can sell 7 more things. Or we can list 7 more things like that. Let's try and get rid of these skill books and a couple of skins. View market details. Okay, this is selling for 500,000. Let's just sell it. Well, let's undercut that guy. Occur sequencer. Got so many of these with my main character. You get them for your daily rewards sometimes. Okay, so these selling for 276. Somebody's buying them at 125. So if I were just to sell them, I make 135. I under 275. 275. Gosh. So that's 2 weeks. Oh man, that is tanking. That's probably not going to sell. Salvager. Okay, so the cheapest price in station is just about 64,000. Somebody is buying them in station for 44,000. What's that one? Two weeks. 262. We good? Brilliant. So this is a skin. for a ship. Best price in station is 780,000. We're buying them for almost nothing. Mar Destroyer skill. Cheapest price in station is 18,000, but there's only one at that price. Then it jumps up to 40,000, so I'm going to sell a couple of 40,000. Goodness me. Somebody is buying them super cheap. Production is going for 173. Okay, so there's two for sale at that price. Then it jumps up to 200,000 in station. So I'm going to sell it for 195 in station. Again, I have a feeling that this one is going to not sell. There are also skills that I can train to lower the broker's fees and the amount of tax that I might have to look at if we're going to trip to my finance. 2 left. Gosh, okay. If everything sells for what I've listed it at, that'll be a nice little... Oh, hello, something just sold. Somebody just bought something. Oh, I'll check that in a minute. So we have just about 7 million. We had 9 million's worth for sale, and somebody literally bought something that we listed. Now we've got 7 million worth for sale. So shows that we're doing something correct, I think. Let's see, let's have a look at what sequencers are going for. So view market details. They're going for 45 ISK each. And there's 1,200 at that price. That isn't going to sell, but let's have a look. Sell this item at, let's say, 44. Should be the lowest price in station. Yes, we are. I think we've got one more item to list. So a Raven biosecurity skin. Oh, that's a pretty decent price. So 1496. So I'm going to list that one at 1495. Fancy typing as usual. No. 1495. So the broker's fees are 2.67%. That gets paid instantly, and then the sales tax gets paid when the item sells. I think there is a skill that will reduce the sales tax. We might try and get a couple of levels of that in. It will pay dividends. Oh. So we've listed quite a bit sale. We've got 500,000's worth of items left in the station, so that's fine. We can do that. We can leave that there. And let us have a look in the wallet and see what just sold. Actions. Oh, the salvage tackle. That's interesting because I wasn't sure that would sell. So mental note, I'm going to make a few more of those when we get back because that sold in just a couple of minutes, didn't it? Which is quite good. The corporate wallet is up to 1/3 of a million. And I said we were going to look at getting some probes, didn't see what they're selling for. I've got a feeling that the probe blueprint is stupidly expensive. We could make a... Okay, they're selling for 23,500 each, and we want... I think we've made enough profit on this trip. Oh, I bought the core load, the probe launchers. Oh. Okay. I meant to buy the probes themselves, and I ended up buying the probe launchers. Oh, if I had any skills or any sense, I would cut this bit out of the video. But, you know, I have neither. Let me send this out. I'll keep them. Oops. That's good. That's good. Good lesson to double check what you're buying. What am I doing? What is going on? Okay. Show mark. Thank you. Goodness me. Let's have a look and see how much the blueprint is going for. 5 million. Yeah, they're not selling for enough. Tree. So 7,000 ISK worth of goods, and you sell it for 11,000. Won't buy that. Okay, so we should talk about how to make bookmarks as well. I've got a ship especially for this. So I have a Punisher in the Amar trade station. Just going to show you how I've got it fit. I've got it fit for a line speed. Nope, that's a massive lie. Man, I am losing it today. This one I fit for speed. So our maximum speed is insane. With the micro warp drive on, I'm getting just over 3,000 meters per second. What we can do with this one, let me show you what I did. If we undock, you see the button here that says add location. What we will do is when we undock, if you immediately click the add location, as soon as we are undocked, if you add location, you can then choose warp in. I'm going to put warp in 2 because we've got one already. And then you choose expire never, and then submit. When you undock from the station, you pretty much travel in a straight line. If you then hit your micro warp drive and set your speed to maximum, you are flying in a straight line. Very straight, but hey. And what you do is you wait until you are a decent distance away, like a couple of 1,000 kilometers, so you can leave your ship powering away and go and make yourself a cup of tea or go for a walk around the block or hug your family, whatever. And then you can set another bookmark called station warp out. What you can do with that one is you want that station warp out to be in a dead straight line from the route you take when you leave the station. And when you undock in one of your big ships, which is slower to align, as long as you're traveling straight, you're automatically at the speed at which you can warp instantly. So if you set a warp which is like this chap here has just done. So he had a warp out set in a dead straight line from the station. He instantly warped out to that location, and I'll show you how that works with this station warp out that we've saved previously. I've got to wait till I'm a certain distance away from the station before I can warp back, so I can warp back now. Should practice what I preach, shouldn't I? Let's warp to the warp in. Go. Hopefully my editing skills have improved to the point where I can discreetly cut out that very, very stupid market error that I did a moment ago. So I was able to warp back to the warp-in spot and then dock instantly. There was no visible gap in time. Let me show you how to use the warp out again. So I'm going to undock. I've got my pointer over the warp out up there. I'm going to warp to within, and you should see that my ship pretty much instantly goes to warp and ends up 1,300 kilometers away from the station. And all of the gankers will have been left there, or you can see a couple of them back there with the yellow suspect. So yeah, that's all. That's how to warp things in and out of the station. Let's warp back to the station warp in. Got my pointer hovering over the dock. As soon as the dock goes white, I've clicked the button and I'm instantly docking. So as long as the word docking appears on your screen there, you are effectively safe. Nothing is ever safe in Eve, obviously. I am going to head back home. Got my spare core scanners. I'm not going to spend 5 million on the probe blueprint yet, though that is an option. An attempt. I shall ponder that. Oh, let's have a quick look at the skills. It is trade. So I've got 2 levels of trade. Knowledge of the market and skill. I'm allowed to have 4 extra buy or sell orders. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'll add that one. And I will happily spend some of my skill points that I've barely used. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I just want 1 skill points. And which was the other one? It's a skill that isn't open to us. Shucks. Okay. Okay. So I can't use the skill. Proficiency at drive. Each level of skill subtracts a flat 0.3% from the costs associated with setting up a market order. Oh gosh, yeah, we'll have that. I think that means that our fees will be slightly down. Skill points. So let us set our destination to home. And I think now that we are in a position where something else just sold there. Let's have a quick look on the old scoreboard. So market action. Oh no, my wallet, not the corporation wallet. Oh, the skills. Oh, the skin sold. Oh, fantastic. So we have made a couple of million just while we've been messing around there. That's really good. Okay, yeah. I think that's quite profitable. Excellent. That is a positive trip to market. So, well, thank you very much, everyone. Hopefully that was useful. I won't subject you to my trip home. And any questions, any thoughts, any requests, please drop a note and let me know what you think about the mic, whether this mic is better, especially the pops and S's. It's got one of those little screens over the top, which I'm not absolutely convinced does anything, but hey, there we go. Anyway, everyone, fly safe and profitable. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. Please tell all of your Eve buddies as well. And I will see you soon. Thank you very much.